Hi guys, I need to get them on Instagram first. Hi, welcome. This is Real Talk with Artists. We are waiting for the VRDGO brothers who joining us momentarily. Hi, welcome to Real Talk with Artists. Hi, welcome to Real Talk with Artists. This is episode 3, season 2. This platform is to give amazing artists the platform to showcase their work and also to share their lessons, their wisdom, everything they gained from being an artist. And so let's dig in deep. Today we have very special guests, the VRDGO brothers, also known as VRDGO brothers. Hello, brothers.
Hello.
Hey, Christina.
Hi. We're super excited to be here. We're live streaming right now using 2 different types of devices, our phones and also the computer. So, so you'll see me kind of looking, it's both 2 different types of cameras. But thank you all for joining us. We see your fans already joining us on Instagram, guys.
Oh, nice. What's up, guys? What's up, everybody?
Yes, I want to mention to everyone, this is specifically, it's entitled Real Talk with Artists because I really want us to get to know both Anthony and Marcos, right? We want to get to know like their essence, like who they are, their roots. And I mean, I'm going to personally mention right now that I'm so ecstatic to have them on because I think I've known them now for 15 years. What do y'all?
Yeah, it's been about that long, huh?
It's been about that long. Yeah, time flies.
Yeah, it does.
Crazy.
Time absolutely flies. And I'm like, I have all kinds of emotions right now because when I met them, my son was 5 years old. And I think my son is like now, well, he was 7. And my son's now 22, y'all. And I just want to say something that you both look ageless. Like,
Oh, likewise. Thank you.
Yeah, you too.
All the ladies, thank you. All the ladies are like, yes. So thank you so much. I want to give a quick intro now that we have started. So VRDGO brothers, let me know, are you all now going by VRDGO brothers or VRDGO? Did I say that right?
Yes, so we're going by VRDGO now. Just we took out some of the vowels and just VRDGO just to kind of move with the times.
It's a little easier to look up if you're trying to find some of our music or find out a little bit about us. You don't have to type the whole long last name with brothers, of course. So.
Yeah.
Yes.
Easier to type in. Yeah, shorter. It shows up on the screens a lot easier, so we just went with it.
I love it so much. Well, thank you. And then the correct pronunciation of your shorter name is?
The shorter name, just VRDGO. Just like our last name.
Okay.
Yeah. But I noticed a lot of people, I'm glad you asked, because a lot of people are saying vertigo lately. So but that's okay, I mean, it's all good.
Yeah. I'm glad I just inquired as well because I'm like, I wonder, because it's okay to change our brand, right? But I love it. It's always going to be VRDGO brothers. Okay, so both of you are known as this amazing duo worldwide, right? With your edgy, classy music, right? You have techno, some house. It's under like EDM music, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yeah, and you're currently signed with
ARMADA, and we just signed a record with Tommie Sunshine's label. It's called Brooklyn Fire. So that's still forthcoming. He hasn't given us an official release date yet, but we're super excited about that. And then we're also signed to some other, like another Dutch label, Black Hole Recordings.
Yeah, that was the original label that Tiesto founded back in the day.
Yeah.
So we put a song out with them several years back as well.
Yes.
Oh, I love it. Okay, so then, congratulations on your new record label. That's so wonderful. And where's this particular record label based from? Because I know that you're all over the map. I mean, prior to COVID, I used to see you in Florida and Nevada, and also you would also travel internationally.
Yeah. So you're talking about our own label?
Yeah, your own label, or even the label that you have now. Tell us a little bit about sort of like where you are now in the music industry. Are you still, going global? Is the record label like national, international? What's all that like?
Yeah, so it's been a journey because in the beginning we didn't really know what we were doing when we started our record label. So we just kind of figured out the basics and figured out a way to get our music out. And then now that we're getting older, it's like, okay, it's time to really shift gears and take things more serious. So we've been kind of just learning more about the music business as we go. And our label's called ESTILO Recordings. It's also called ESTILO Digital. So DJs, if they look for us on Beatport, for example, it'll show up as ESTILO Digital. But it's still the same record label, and we have big plans for it. I mean, we really hope that things are going to open up soon, and conferences will reconvene, and we can get together again and continue our networking, and continue meeting all these amazing people in the industry.
Because there's so much talent out there, and it's really difficult to get records out. And we also want to keep our label as a place where if you have the talent and the music's good, we want to be able to give it the right exposure. So we're looking forward to signing newer artists who are maybe have gone through some of the similar struggles that we have in trying to get their music out there, and just give them an opportunity to be heard, just like we've always wanted to.
Right.
Well, that's it. Okay. Y'all heard it. If you're an artist, make sure to contact the VRDGO brothers if you want to collaborate with them. Now, for folks who haven't heard your music before, are not aware of your record label, how do you present yourselves? How do you introduce yourselves? Let's get to know who you, yeah.
Okay, so as far as who we are, or as far as what the label represents?
So, multi-layered question. I love it. Let's actually first start off with an intro, like individually, right? I know I have Anthony and Marcos here with me today, but say something a little bit about yourselves as individuals, and also as you as the VRDGO brothers, and we can then hit on the record label.
Okay, cool. Yeah, so together, my brother and I were childhood DJs. So we started out as kids. We went actually to a rave, almost a very long time ago. It was a rave when we were first exposed to the music. And back then, a lot of people were just DJing or learning how to DJ. And we went to a record store down in LA to buy some of our first records. And this is 10 plus years ago. Mm-hmm. But over time, we learned as we were doing shows and DJing and also throwing our own shows that in order to travel and get out there and play some of these other shows that we've always dreamt of, we had to start producing our own records. So we started learning how to produce music as well a little over 10 years ago. And then, like my brother mentioned earlier, it's been just a never-ending journey, never-ending process in terms of learning how to continuously get better, defining our style, and moving with the times, of course, but never trying to sound like everyone else. Because in today's world, like everyone's a producer, everyone's a DJ, but it's all about having your own individuality and being unique and staying true to yourself. And that's really where we come from in terms of our music. It's all about just having that sound where at the end of the day, it's edgy, it's undeniable, has that groove, has that emotion. And we don't want to put a label on what we do, but it's definitely all dance music.
Awesome. Yeah. I mean, that's basically encompasses, where the VRDGO brothers came from. As far as individually, you want me to go?
Yeah, go individual.
Yeah. So, I mean, anything specific you want to know about me, Christina, for your
We can start with your name. Anything you'd like to share? So where were you born? Were you born in LA, in Northern Cali? Like, yeah.
That's a good question. Those are all good questions.
I was born in LA.
all our family lives in LA.
Yeah.
They're all from LA, with the exception of my mom. Our mother's from Seoul, Korea, as well as all their family.
But I mean, to be honest with you guys, I mean, we were originally from Redding, just a small town up north, smaller city, a couple hours north of Sacramento. And so we probably spent about half our lives there, and then moved to Sacramento after we basically kind of got kicked out we were throwing raves, like my brother was saying. And
yeah, if you want to share the story, or
yeah, I mean, we don't need to get into all of it, but just
it's real talk with artists, y'all. It's real talk. Let's get deep.
So we were throwing raves back when a lot of it had a negative light in the media, and the cops didn't like us throwing these parties in Redding too much. And for such a small town, we're generating anywhere from 700 to 1,000 plus people to these parties, and they're epic. They're epic back then. But over time, I mean, cops were trying to figure out how to put a stop to it, and they eventually did, and that's what ended up running us out of town, and we ended up in Sacramento.
No, but in all fairness, you know, I mean, of course, they're just trying to do what they believed was right
at the time.
I think we had some haters. We definitely had some haters that were talking to the police and telling us that telling them that we were doing things that we weren't doing, you know, like illegal stuff. And so
everything was legit. We had insurance. We made sure everyone was safe.
Yeah. And you know what?
Security.
If anyone's, you know, in the process of planning out events and stuff like that, I mean, we're in a tough predicament everywhere, but things are opening up, and a lot of people are planning things for the near future here, especially since the weather's so nice. So, I mean, you know, just make sure, to anyone out there that's producing or organizing events or thinking about it, just make sure you cover all your bases. You know, and that's all we did. We covered all our bases, and even though eventually they kind of harassed us out of town, I mean, we never got charged of anything. There was nothing like really bad.
We didn't get in trouble
because we made sure that we covered all our bases.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? We always made sure that we spent plenty of money on security. We got insurance. We took care of all those kinds of things before we did anything, and regretted it later, you know?
Thank you for sharing that, because I do want to pin what you just mentioned right now in terms of covering your bases, right? Because in terms of your creative journey, going from, you know, youth being, you know, young and creative and also very entrepreneurial, right? Because you have this entrepreneur spirit where you started to do these parties and you were DJing and you were making sure that it was legitimate. That's very business-like, very business-minded. And one thing that I want to definitely get into is the mindset that y'all have, because I want to say, like, you've been in this business for a couple of decades now. It's been you have longevity in the business. And so I want to be able to make sure that before we leave, we touch on those key things that makes you resilient, you know, that keeps you here, coming to, you know, bringing us like some incredible dance music that uplifts our spirits, or, you know, or inspires an emotion, right? So thank you so much. But I'm going to pin that, and I'm going to make sure to ask you about that again, because I love that you said that you made sure to cover your bases. I also love that you shared about your mom. She's from South Korea, and just a big shout out, a lot of love to your mom. Y'all know, as a single mom myself, I just respect her so much, because you know, she raised you both. And I'm telling you guys, I am so delighted to have them here with me today, because as their friend, they've been solid, they've been consistent, they've been authentic since the day I met them. And you know, and time has gone where we haven't been in touch, but whenever we're in touch, it's like no time has gone by at all. And again, as a mom, to know, my goodness, like what it takes to raise one young man who is socially conscious, who has a big heart, yet your mom, you're like raised both of you, and you both are so bonded and so creative, so talented. I mean, just mad love and respect to her. I'm gonna have her on one of these days. Like, what does it take to raise artists?
I'm sure she would love that. And she, by the way, she said to tell you hello too. So she was real excited to hear that we were doing this with you. So
I love that.
Shout out.
Absolutely. I had to mention it. So I know that you have your your mom's from South Korea, and then your father is from Mexico?
No, he's actually from like East LA area. He was born in Whittier, raised in Downey. So if anyone's familiar with that, it's kind of more the east part of Los Angeles, like near Pico Rivera.
Yeah.
So he's
East LA.
Yeah. So I mean, and then you know, our grandfather is also from East LA, and then our great grandfather from Mexico. Yeah. So we're like third generation or something.
Yeah.
I love it. So do y'all speak a little Spanish? ¿Hablan un poquito de español? Sí, un poquito.
Entiendo más que hablar.
Sí, lo entiende muy bien. Lo entiende muy bien.
Gracias.
So it's Marcos VRDGO and Anthony VRDGO. Anthony, let us know a little bit about yourself, something that maybe you haven't shared with your public, with your fans.
Well, I went through COVID last year. I had COVID in July, and I kind of put it out on social media, but I didn't really go too in depth with it. but that was definitely a life-changing experience in itself, because for myself, I caught one of the worser cases of it. I went to the hospital a couple times, literally thought I was going to die. I thought I seen Jesus. It was just the most horrific experience of my life. In fact, when I was in the hospital, you heard and read some of the side effects on how it does some weird things to the brain. At the hospital, they actually had to put me through, I think it's the MRI machine, like the donut thing where they do the brain scans, because they were trying to figure out what was going on with me in terms of why I was acting just not normal. It was just one of the worst times of my life. I don't wish anyone to go through it. I'm just happy it's behind me. And if anyone has gone through it or has any questions about it, I'm definitely here. I went through some mental stuff like for a good couple months after that I had to get through in terms of anxiety and panic attacks. And it was just the worst time of my life.
Yeah, it's like a PTSD kind of thing he was going through. It was like decompressing.
I was locking every door and window and checking every camera and setting alarm, and it just on and on. I couldn't sit still. It was just, obviously I know why, because of COVID, but it was just crazy how it was affecting my brain and just everything of just the worst time of my life.
Yeah, well, Anthony, I remember seeing the messages, and I feel I'm getting really choked up, because it's like bringing me back to that, and like just the people that love you, and hearing from, your brother. And it was really scary to know that you were going through that, and we're just so happy that you're here. I just remember, I believe in the collective consciousness, and the power of a collective consciousness to intend on something, like to pray for something, right? And I made sure that you were absolutely in my prayers and in my visualizations to ensure that you were going to beat this and you're going to come out good. And my heart was just going out for you, for your family, for Marcos and your mom. But thank you so much for sharing, because people need to know that. People need to know like that they're not alone. I have a friend that lost actually a few family members, and it's really tragic and sad. But then at the same time, people need to hear like, what are the after effects? What are the aftermath? And not feel afraid to speak about it, right? Sometimes it's not as easy to bounce back.
No, absolutely. And there's, a lot of people that are still skeptical about whether it's real or not, or is it just a hoax, or whatever people want to believe or whatever. But at the end of the day, I can tell you 10,000% sure what I went through was absolutely real. And this thing is not fake. And I just hope that sooner rather than later, we can just pass this situation or pandemic and just move forward with our lives. And just like you said, Christina, so many people lost family members, and we've known friends and family that have also passed away. And it's just horrific. And I'm just glad that we're finally starting to move forward, I guess, as a country in terms of what's going on with the cases and whatnot. And I just hope that things continue to head in the right direction.
Mm-hmm. It will. Things are going to get better. Things will get better. And I just want to say shout out to you, Christina, because not everybody reached out to us when my brother was sick.
Oh, you definitely find out who really cares, and who in terms of who you thought were your friends. And I did feel the power of prayer. I honestly did. I felt like that was a big part of it for sure, as well as just having the support of my family and friends.
Yeah, 100%. So thank you, Christina, for reaching out. And to everyone else that reached out as well. My brother said, he really did feel the energy and the well wishes that everybody was, just throwing at my brother. And in response to my videos I was putting up, it really helped me to get through a tough time as well too, because I just felt hopeless and helpless, because I couldn't really I couldn't see him at the hospital and stuff. And we were going to do like a story and everything, like make a little documentary, and we may still do that at some point.
Because one of our best friends went through it too, like several months after me, and he went through a tough time and went to the hospital.
We just haven't done it because so many people are going through it, and people have lost family members, and that people are still going through it. it was just overwhelming. So we decided
still
to hold off, but
we are going to get to it though.
yeah, we should.
Yeah. I think it's definitely an important story to tell, a story to share. I know y'all learned so much from it, and I'm feeling so fortunate. I mean, I was already like so excited, so nervous, so like accumulation of emotions just to be able to reunite with you both. But it now, remembering this though, it's really impactful. Remembering that, it was so close. Your life was at risk. It makes this moment right now so meaningful. I cannot take it for granted. I cannot take y'all for granted at all. And, with that said, I want to mention to everyone, y'all released an incredible song last year. You want to share that, and how did your experience have any type of influence on the song that you released? Because when Timothy heard it, he's like, "Ma, this song is like so on par with the times of today, like this year," And I've absolutely have felt so much listening to that song. It inspires me, but at the same time, it's melancholy. It makes you feel certain things. So you want to share a little bit about your your song from last year?
Yeah, absolutely. And thank you for sharing, your sentiment about our song. I mean, yeah, it was really weird how we came up with This Life, and then we found this vocal, and the vocal was just like very prophetic, right? I mean, it fit obviously our song, and we were really sure about it, but it just felt right at the moment. And, during the whole lockdown period, I mean, all of us were going through a whole range of emotions. I know I was going through a lot of just a little bit of depression and
uncertainty,
disappointment, uncertainty, so many different feelings I was going through. And, I mean, music is definitely, it's always been our rock. And so thank God we had our studio and everything to fall back on.
Yeah, during the whole pandemic, we just, with the exception of getting COVID, we locked ourselves in the studio.
Yeah, so coming out with that song and then releasing it when we did, it just felt right. And I think there is something to putting out, products or material, be it music or art or whatever, and timing it.
Yeah, the right time.
I mean, it's, and sometimes it doesn't always work out the way you want it to, but in this case, it worked out the right timing. We released it, everything made sense, and we got like a better response to that song than we have from other past songs.
That's actually one of our most successful songs in terms of the analytics, as far as like the playlists that got added to, the support it received.
Yeah.
It was just, I think, just kind of like you mentioned, Christina, just the timing of it and the lyrics of it, everything kind of just came together.
Yeah. So that's something that we're still, working on, and it's something to get excited about for any artist and stuff. If you could time it right, you know what I mean, and make it go with, like, say, the weather, the season.
Yeah, the season.
It does make a difference.
It does.
Yeah. So
because music's all about feeling.
Yeah. So thank you for bringing up that song, and we really appreciate the fact that you guys are bumping it, number one, but probably more importantly, just that you feel it too. That was like the whole point of that song. We just wanted to put something out there that kind of took everyone's mind off of whatever they were going through at the moment, and that's what it's all about. I mean, that's why we love doing magic too. We do magic and anything to kind of take us away,
escape from reality,
the chaos of the world and stuff, and get someone to crack a smile. It makes it all worth it.
I love it. I mean, if you haven't heard their music, you have to. You're always gonna feel something. I listen to it when I'm like biking now to get me through the hills.
Nice.
And if y'all know, I love to dance, but now I'm like, I'm getting a little too old to do all the young kind of stuff.
No. Don't be silly. You could dance to the very end.
Oh my goodness. Okay, so you mentioned magic. So I want to mention y'all are multi-talented. It's the music, it's, going from DJs, like entrepreneurial DJs, like doing these amazing house parties up in Redding, and then going to Sacramento and producing events in Sacramento and making a big name for yourselves, and going from Redding to I think Northern California. And then suddenly, boom, like I remember y'all on Facebook just exploding everywhere. I just, again, it's like y'all are global, and then all of a sudden I see y'all doing an audition for this major network as magicians. And so one of the things that I love about both of you is like when you're on stage, oh, you guys own the stage. It's so good. It's not like you're not just spinning, you know, playing music. You have an incredible stage presence, incredible charisma. So it seems very natural that you would also, you know, continue to do more. And so tell us about, you know, your, is it safe to say illusionary talents? Are you illusionist, magicians? And how did that come about?
I think the word illusionist sounds a little more sophisticated. I like the way it sounds better than just straight magician. But I mean, both. We're magicians, illusionists, because that's ultimately what we're doing, you know, is creating illusions. But you want to talk? Go ahead.
I mean, so we're originally childhood magicians, and we got back into it when I was, we're 3 years apart. So I got back out when I was around nine, I think. And then,
like that.
My brother's a few years older. And we were exposed to like David Copperfield or David Blaine when we were kids. I know like a lot of people, they've seen either one of them or both, and they're both equally as amazing.
Yeah.
But so we took magic lessons as kids. We did it for a few years, just like all the other rest of the kids. You kind of start something and then you kind of don't finish it. You jump into something else or sports or whatever it is. And it wasn't until about 6-7 years ago we took our mom for her birthday on a cruise, and there was a magician on there that was doing close-up magic. You want to finish the story?
Yeah, so Magic Leo. And so, but to kind of back up a little bit though, shout out to our mom, because our mom's the one who, she saw that how much we loved watching magic on television, and then she got us our first tickets to a magic show with this guy named Andre Cole. Okay. And Andre Cole is a guy who it's spelled K-O-L-E, by the way. So
he invented a lot of Copperfield solutions back in the day.
So he used to work closely with Copperfield, and then he had a touring show where he would go and perform like his own, you know, illusions, but he also did some of the same stuff that David Copperfield did as well, like a smaller scaled down version of vanishing the Statue of Liberty and stuff.
Or walking
the tickets
on
were like $7, you know,
back in the day.
Yeah, my mom got these tickets and we were just like blown away. And so that, and then my mom also saw how my brother and I ran up on this magician at Chuck E. Cheese.
He's vanishing coins.
He was doing magic for us, and you know, she could see how thrilled we were. And so props to her, because she sees the opportunity to talk to him and convince him into giving us lessons.
Yeah, as our magic teacher.
Yeah. So moms are so important.
Yes.
Mom's cool. So that, that's kind of where it all started right there. So thank you to Mom. Then we just kind of carried the torch forward and stuff. But to Magic Leo, who we met on the cruise ship, this guy is incredible. He was a magician from India. And I think he was like around 40 or something
at the time,
years of age when we met him. And we got to know him and stuff. So not to make a long story longer, I'm going to try to trim it down. And basically he told us this whole story about how he struggled from India, and then he was on the ship working for 8 months out of the year. He had a newborn baby back in home in India that he was sending money to his wife.
And he was not even home.
Yeah. So, and his story was just so moving, and it was so inspiring, because every time I think I have it hard, then you meet
think about some of
who's
these other
gone through
people
so much more, and you're just like, wow, like, what am I complaining about? So it was at that very moment, in talking to Leo, that I realized, man, what am I doing? Why am I wasting my, not getting back into magic?
Well, he spent a lot of time with us, talking to us, sharing his story, and then asked us if we did magic. And the question that he
started giving the cliff notes.
No, I know. He was like, why did you guys quit? How come you guys don't do magic anymore? And then that's when we kind of looked at each other. We're like, well,
that's a good point. So
that kind of
and then the story that he told us about how it was a dream for him to meet his inspiration as a kid, who was David Copperfield, right? Saw David on TV and everything, and just he vowed to himself that one day he would meet him. And then he told us that story about how he was on the cruise ship, and then they were docked in Long Beach, and he jumped on a plane to Vegas, and then saw a Copperfield show, paid extra money to meet him afterwards, and got a picture with him. And so then he pulled his phone out and showed us that picture of him shaking David's hand. And I was just like, I was just stunned, like, what? And I just remembered, wow, this guy has got an incredible story, and it's something I'll carry with me forever. And my brother too. Thank you. Shout out to Leo. We're back in the magic game and stuff, and we're much happier as a result of it. So.
I love it. And speaking of magic, I believe the very special treat that y'all shared with me in terms of the video, it has some of your magic.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So I want to mention this to everyone on Instagram, joining us on Instagram. If you go right now, just type in REEM Media on YouTube, you'll be able to see this live stream, because I'm going to share a video that they've shared with me that you absolutely must see. Again, just type in REEM Media on YouTube to watch the video we're about to play right now. And also, this is Real Talk with Artists, y'all. Please, this is your chance to ask them some real questions that y'all want answers to. So, all right, I'm gonna ask David to cue up that video, and let's see what we got.
What percentage?
That's my favorite one.
Awesome, dude.
I love it. Oh, there we go. We're back on. I love that video so much. What is one of your favorite magic tricks that you like to perform that really like just takes people's breath away?
Oh gosh, there's so many good tricks. What would you say?
I mean, there's so many. I mean, the torn and restored card from the mouth is one of the
Which is
ones
on the
that
video.
It's on there, and
if you want to see what he's talking about, it's you want to explain what it is a little bit, or
so the spectator picks a card, any random card they want.
Yeah, I've seen that.
Take that card, they sign the face of the card, nice and big. Then we take the corner and rip it off in front of everyone, so you can see the two pieces separate. Then with that torn piece, I place it in my mouth, I swallow it, make it disappear. And with the ripped card, stick it in my mouth and make the corner reappear right back, attached with the original signature and everything intact.
Fully restored, and it just melts people. So yeah, if
it's just a fun one to
what
do.
he's talking about, go to Reem's YouTube channel and check it out.
Yes, y'all need to go and watch that. So what is up next now that for 2021, right? What do you guys have cooking in the studio, or for your also your career magic? What do you guys have planned in store?
So definitely, just like you, we're building up the YouTube. We want to give more back to the community in terms of tutorials, how-to videos, everything that we've been doing that people have been curious about, whether it's a production tip, a filming tip, the equipment we're using. We want to make this year of giving back and sharing things that can help improve everyone in terms of what we're doing, or if they like something that we're into. And that's going to be taking place on our YouTube channel. We've already began making some tutorials, and we're going to continue. So if there's feedback out there of things that people want to learn or see, we're totally open for it, and we're willing to make the content that a lot of people would like to see.
Yeah. We also are going to be doing some interviewing too, much like what you're doing, Christina. We would love to have you on our show.
We talked about that earlier. So we want to start bringing more guests. We love what you're doing, and that's something that we plan on doing in terms of how-to videos as well.
I mean, we're excited too, because we just want to not just limit ourselves to interviewing artists, but also UFC fighters.
We love MMA.
That's right.
We have a martial arts background, mixed martial arts, and so we actually. Thank you.
Yeah. And our cousin, he fights for Bellator, Aaron Pico. Some of you guys may know him out there.
Yeah. So if you guys are fight fans or just curious about our cousin, his name is Aaron Pico. It's Aaron Pico USA.
He fights out of the same gym as John Bones Jones in Albuquerque.
Right. Yeah, and Jackson Week MMA is the school he's talking about. Yeah. So hopefully one day we'll be able to interview Aaron. That'd be great. But for the immediate future, we know that Max Payne Griffin from UFC, he's already agreed to come on our show. We just got to get things set up. We're going to order another microphone and everything and do it proper, like you're doing, Christina. So we appreciate all the work you put into this, to your whole team as well. We saw how big the team is over there at REEM Media. So shout out to you guys.
Yeah, shout out, guys.
Yeah, so we're just excited to do that.
Absolutely. I love it. It's going to be fantastic because y'all just dropped an acapella tutorial. So everyone go to their YouTube. It's VRDGO Brothers, right? Yeah. That's it. So go to they just dropped an acapella tutorial. I mean, come on, this is like free, valuable stuff. Like this is where you want to go, to enrich yourselves like with great music, but also to feed your brain with some good, good tutorials and new music. I love it. And every time you do something, it's always fantastic production. So I know that your show is absolutely going to take off. Speaking of, so you also mentioned you're trained in martial arts.
Yes.
How did that's also from when you were kids, right? Because I think I saw a picture on Instagram of you. So cute.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, how old were you guys when you started?
I was 4 years old when I started karate. And so I was, just a baby. And I mean, I probably wasn't very good, but actually I didn't really start going consistently to classes until I was 6. And then, my brother, a little bit, what time, how old were you when you started?
I was around 6 too. When I actually started, like 6 years old when I first went. Our dad had a school for a long time, actually.
All our lives, pretty much.
Yeah, martial arts school. And he taught jiu-jitsu, boxing, kickboxing, martial arts.
He started off with Tong Sudo, which is like a older, it's very similar to Taekwondo, but it's like an older form of martial arts from Korea.
Less kicks than Taekwondo.
Wow.
No, it's about the same.
Similar?
It's about the same. Yeah, actually those styles are known for their kicks. And then he got into some other different styles later on. He got into Kali and Eskrima and Gracie Jiu-Jitsu, Modern Arnis, which is Filipino stick fighting and hand-to-hand combat. And he was really one of the first guys in Reading to start flying in people. He would fly them into Sacramento and pick them up. These famous martial arts professor guys, like Professor Ramey Praces. Yeah, he was a Modern Arnis
Filipino
legend.
Stick fighting and knives and
just different guys that he would fly in from Canada, from all over the place. Guys that had trained with
jiu-jitsu seminars.
Yeah, jiu-jitsu seminars, and so we were exposed to all this stuff at an early age, and that's I was very lucky to get to meet some of the Gracie brothers, and then they have some cousins, the Machados, and so the Machado system is very similar to the Gracie jiu-jitsu system.
You trained Joe Rogan's coach too at seminars, yeah.
Wow.
Yes, John Machado.
John Machado.
Yeah, Jean-Jacques Machado is Joe Rogan's instructor. So crazy how small of a world we all live in.
Absolutely.
The 6 degrees of separation, So, but that's how we got into it, and
still very passionate.
Yeah, when I was in junior high, I got into amateur boxing.
Yeah, he used to train in the summertime. My brother used to train at the same gym as Tony Lopez. I don't know if some of you guys may know. He's a world champion, came out of Sacramento.
Yeah, and Diego Corrales too, was former world champ, and he fought Floyd Mayweather and stuff. And so for anybody in Sacramento that's familiar with the boxing game, they might be familiar with those names. So it's pretty cool.
Very cool. I know I hit up Marcos because I was like, I hit up both of y'all because I honestly used to just get really scared watching MMA fights. So I was just like, oh my God, this is so much. I'm non-violent. But then my son, right? He's 20 something. He's so uber disciplined. Yeah, for real, I don't know where he gets this from because I was never into any kind of physical fitness type of thing, but he is so disciplined when it comes to getting his workouts. But he's so inspired by jiu-jitsu. He's so inspired by MMA fighting. Awesome. And then the way that he introduced me to the history of it, and he introduced me to, okay, you guys have to now recollect my memory. The world champion MMA fighter who just won, and he's I believe from I'm gonna butcher his name. I'm not even gonna try. My
So
son's gonna
Khabib?
laugh at me. Khabib! Oh my God! Yes.
Yeah.
So my son is absolutely, he's really inspired by Khabib, and he mentioned, you know, the story, the history of it, and the discipline that it takes to learn jujitsu.
Yeah.
So it's not just people, you know, aggressively like trying to kill each other. It's not. And I think that when I finally understood that, right, the discipline, the, you know, mental agility that you have to have, that started to make more sense to me. And also I was so touched by Khabib and his father, the fact that they, you know, they started off, you know, his father started him off and his father was the coach. And also that brotherhood that they have, like all, you know, within their team. And I think that they're like located in San Jose, I believe. So there's just so many amazing aspects. So for folks who are like, you know, like me, I didn't know about it and I just like shied away from it. When I finally learned about it, I'm like, okay, this has a lot of more meaning to it than I realized in the beginning.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's so cool to hear that your son's into this stuff too.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, because Khabib is, you know, obviously a legend, and it's very rare that we see a champion like him, you know, someone who kind of, you know, holds themselves to a certain standard in terms of their moral value and how they portray themselves on television. You know, with the exception of what happened with that, the first fight between him and Conor, things kind of got a little crazy, but, but no, I mean,
That's true.
Khabib he's a Dagestani fighter. And, you know, he comes from a region of Russia, you know, where they take wrestling very serious. It's a part of their lifestyle. And another cool factoid is that our cousin Aaron Pico's got to train with Khabib in San Jose. So that's really cool.
That's really cool.
Yeah, because we can actually see our cousin's improvement in the
using
like, subsequent
similar
fights after he started training with Khabib. He was like using some of the same techniques.
That's
and
amazing.
He's actually he's been going to Russia for a long time because he had a big name in the wrestling world before he went pro. And so training in Russia a lot. I think it's his main coach is Russian. So his coach would take him out there and train with the Russian fighters and wrestlers, and he would learn these techniques that nobody literally keep secret from Americans and from other people in the world. Yeah, it's pretty cool. Yeah, pretty crazy.
That's really amazing. So real talk with artists. What's your training workout now? What do you, how do you guys stay fit and looking like ageless?
Well, thank you. That's a great question. I mean, you know, I have my ups and downs, but I mean, like our gym opened back up, so we've been consistently hitting the gym. We try to do the exercises, like the high intensity interval training. We do that like every other day. And then in between, you know, we'll kind of focus on other areas of the body, like be it legs or maybe you know, upper body stuff.
Yeah. And then we converted the garage too at the house, especially during the pandemic. We have put mirrors up on the wall. We got a punching bag and all the pads and mitts. And
we may surprise you with some videos. You know,
we're working on some more content.
We're gonna put some special videos and show you like some of the stuff that we actually do in my brother's garage. Some of the combinations we're throwing and some other things that we do to kind of stay in shape and to keep our tools sharp.
I love that. And speaking of everything that y'all do, I have a message here from Crystally. She says, "You two are so multi-dimensional. It's deeply moving. I love, love, love all the layers that make you you." That is so beautiful. Okay, who is Crystally?
Thank you.
Champagne. Wow, that's a beautiful comment right there. Thank you so much, y'all.
Thank you.
I only have them for like another good 13 minutes. So please chime in here, ask your questions. This is the time to get to know who the brothers are, what keeps them going, what keeps them motivated, healthy, looking great, creative, innovative, right? Speaking of all of that, I wanted to go back to this theme of your mindset. So one of the perks that you will get in following them on like Instagram is their stories. And since I feel like oftentimes I stumble across a story where one of you are sharing something very motivational, but it's not like on the surface motivational. It's very deep and impactful, and it really resonates with me. And I love it when you share your wisdom and when you talk to us, you know, in that way, because we never really know, right, what people are going through it's easy to assume that everyone is fine because we put this happy face on, right? And it's easy to go on with life pretending like, oh, things are opening up now, everything's great. That's not the case. A lot of people are still, suffering and in pain due to, the pandemic, right? And so when you post things, when you share things, and also your family, I believe it's your auntie, right, who is right now surviving cancer, and it's incredible to have y'all share your truth and your real life, and to give us those antidotes that are literally medicine for the soul. So it speaks to me as both of you having, the mindset. Right, the mindset that you had to navigate. You had to, create, have all your checks, and balanced out, when you started as DJs. Like you mentioned, you had to have all your bases covered, right? To think about that when you're so young, right? To think about the business aspect of what y'all are doing, that takes a level of ingenuity, right? And to go from that to then also creating this massive music career and being in the music industry for such a long time, it takes a lot, and y'all are very gifted. Again, we know multidimensional, multi-talented. So tell us a little bit. I want to hear from both of you in terms of what keeps your minds healthy and being able to show up consistently for everyone.
Well, thank you so much for sharing that with us, Christina. And I mean, I know you're talking about, because I kick myself in the butt for not doing it more often. And that is, getting on camera and speaking from the heart. And I think I need to do more of it. And I know my brother needs to do more of it, because when we do speak from the heart, we do see the response and the feedback, and how just deeply it resonates with people.
Yes.
And so, and I know I'm the same way, whenever I see somebody speaking from the heart, the truth just has a ring to it. And, there's many people that I look up to that are on the internet, and I'm just so thankful, so grateful that they actually put themselves out there, and they, even the older celebrities and stuff too. I know everyone gets a little self-conscious about the way they look, especially as they get older, but, so it takes some courage to get on there. And the most important thing is just to not be concerned with how you look or what people think about you, because we only have so much time on this planet, and so I really am going to push myself to get on camera more often. I'm playing around with some different concepts and some ideas of how I can bring more value to the internet, because there's just so many voices out there, and I don't want to just be another person kind of regurgitating what's already out there. And my brother feels the same way. So we're working on that, but in terms of like some of the things that I do to keep my mind healthy is, and this is something I've learned through my professional career, like my corporate career outside of music. And that is, you can only control the controllables. And there's a lot of things that are going on in our world, and, that's happening everywhere simultaneously that we just can't control. You just can't control the weather. You can't control some of these, these topics that keep, popping up in the news and stuff. And so the point is just, kind of, just slow down and focus in on the things that you can control, such as your attitude, such as, how much effort you put into your day,
how much negativity you're exposed to,
how much negativity you may be exuding and not realizing, and just,
that's real.
Yeah, you have to slow down and sort of zoom out, and just kind of look at your life from a macro level sometimes to kind of figure out, okay, what am I doing here? Where am I heading? And then zoom back in and focus in on those things that you can control, such as the relationships you have with your family, your friends, the people around you. And ask yourself, how do you want to be remembered? It's so important. You know what I mean? Like, if something was to happen, God forbid, to any of us, like tomorrow, how are they going to remember us, and that kind of scares me sometimes too. So it motivates me to do better. That, and then also
That's
just
so
having my
powerful.
brother and surrounding myself, with good people. I've lost a lot of people in my life, but are they really losses? You know what I mean? Especially if they weren't really there for you, or they were just there on their own agenda. Probably not, So I think another good thing that I've learned in my life so far is to just move through life only accepting the good from people.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's so deep and powerful. How about Anthony? Do you want to add to that? That's so good.
It kind of it's kind of hard to follow that up, but so in terms of staying motivated, obviously a lot of things that we put out there is just something that we may be going through personally ourselves, and in terms of just how to like do better, do more. And I feel like at the end of the day, for everyone that's out there in the world, that we all have a special gift, right? A lot of people, they see other artists, whether they're singers, dancers, whatever they may be, and they're like, well, I don't have that talent. I'm just not gifted, and whatever it may be. But not realizing what their natural gifts truly are. That may be cooking, it may be poetry, it could be a million things, but we're all born with natural gifts, and we all have that burning desire to succeed and put those things out there. But a lot of us come from self-doubt. And I just feel like that's the biggest obstacle. If most of us could just get over the self-doubt of thinking, I'm not good enough, I'm not talented enough, we could all succeed in whatever we're good at if we were just to get out of our own way.
I love it. Woo, I just feel like I just went to church.
And that's right from the heart. I really feel that way.
I feel that too.
I see talent in everyone. I see, and no matter what it is, it's just everyone has something special and unique to bring to the table.
Yeah. And one thing I'll sort of add on to this too, is something that I've recently started doing and I found to be helpful, so maybe some others out there might find this helpful, is using some of the tools like astrology and numerology and things that have been around, for, a long time.
Yes. That's awesome.
It's there. And I, always used to kind of just, whatever, kind of ignore it here and there. I started getting a little bit more into it because of the magic thing. So we do incorporate some of the astrology and zodiac into
the mind reading,
some of our mentalism that we do. But one of my favorite things to do, Christina, is I'll stop into like these used bookstores and I'll just like find like these books. And I swear sometimes these books find me. It's so weird. You know what I mean?
I believe you, yes.
You know what I'm saying? And so like I'll be like, oh my God, that book's calling me right there. So I'll pick it up and it'll be like $6 or something really cheap. And I find all these really cool books, and it's a way to get to know not just other people, but to know yourself.
Yeah.
To know thyself. You know what I mean? And this is like part of my journey that I'm still on is, unlocking my true potential. And, if I could share this with other people and encourage them to do the same, please do. You know what I mean? Look to astrology and numerology and some of those other things to, strengthen, your relationships with, your loved ones, your family, your friends, get to understand people a little bit better, a little bit deeper. And, but most importantly, to understand yourself, and to learn to love yourself. There's a lot of positivity that you can draw from those things.
I mean, I'm feeling so choked up right now because this is literally, I'm not lying, this is the third time in a week that I've heard that you know thyself. It's that theme has been coming up with just conversations with friends on how important that is. And it's so important because we tend to think that we know who we are, but at the end of the day, how much of thyself is, excuse my language, but how much of it is shit that's been programmed in us?
Yeah.
How much is stuff that, it's programming, right? It's not really who we are at the core. Anthony, I love that you said, everyone has a gift, and it's absolutely true. But because of, the world we live in and what we're programmed to believe that we need to live by, have some sort of timeline and things that how we have to live our lives by, it strips away from that creativity. Right. It forces us into this grind and this relentless, this relentless cycle that it doesn't inspire creativity and ingenuity, and it doesn't help, and if we're constantly on the grind, when do we get a time to reflect on who we truly are? And I say this because it's taken me now 2-3 years since I became, an empty nester. Timothy flew out of the nest, and
what's up, Timothy? Shout out.
He's like, oh my God, stop talking about me, Mom. But he did. He flew out of, and I'm here by myself, and I experienced COVID by myself. I spent the entire, pandemic by myself. And it was such a reckoning, right? Of like, wow, like this is insane. Like quarantining for months and months. I mean, let me give a shout out to my cat, Willie. Willie is my life.
Willie?
Good looking out, Willie.
Seriously. Oh my goodness. So, but and it's forced me to know myself, because how much and my girlfriends call me out because they'll hear me have self-doubt that I could only say, which is absolutely important. You have to be close to people that we can trust, right? So that they can point things out to us that may not be reflective of our truth. And going back to, again, like we all have a gift, as Anthony said, I know you both believe this. I came up with the name of my business when it wasn't even a business yet. And so the initials stand for Reigniting Empowered Expressiveness for Motivation. I know it's really long, but it stems from this idea that we're all born with our light, that beautiful and creative, infinite, non-destructible light, in the infinite world. But here, because we go through so much, that light gets dwindled. And so the whole purpose of, creating a boutique agency was to celebrate artists, was to, support artists in their gifts and their talents, because it's art. It's you guys making music, performing, entertaining, showing up for the world. It's that I believe keeps our spirits reignited, so that we can remember who we are. And that's why what you do means so much. And I think that what, people show up when they, doing their art is so important. And I love that you invited folks to contact you, to reach out to y'all. I love that you're open to collaborations, and that you have a lot of things in store for folks, because this is who you want to be in collaborations with, for real. Like, this is it, the VRDGO brothers.
Thank you. Appreciate that. Appreciate it.
I have one more thing to share with y'all. I don't know if you remember. Does your uncle still do numerology?
Actually, he hasn't been doing it because he's been in the hospital, for a while. Like he's permanently disabled.
I'm so sorry.
He went through some tough times,
some tough stuff, that he had to go through. So that's another, it's really because we haven't even been able to see him for over a year.
That's so tough. I'm sorry to hear that.
Yeah, it sucks, but
we check in with our cousin, and he keeps us updated as far as how he's doing. And
good.
Yeah.
Good.
So, but yeah, he was, to your point about numerology, our uncle on my mom's side, he, was a really good numerologist. So good that people would travel like hundreds of miles to come see him. Just, his reputation had spread that much. And that's kind of what made me a believer in numerology early on, was just how accurate it is. It's so crazy. And I still don't fully understand like how it could be so accurate, but there is something to the numbers there, and I mean, he was so good at it. And he also used to, he speaks and reads and writes Chinese. So he would actually like do
translate
all these calculations, all this, math for the numerology. And then he would go into this book written in Chinese, and then, like complete his readings on people. And they were just like mind blowing. So really crazy stuff. I hope to someday, like maybe, I don't know, like get a hold of his books or something, and like borrow,
or learn a little bit,
learn something more from him. Yeah, just I can't wait to see him again. We really miss him a lot. And
absolutely,
my mom's little brother.
Oh my God! Well, prayers to him. Please let him know I say hello. He's memorable. I remember him, and in fact, like I remember what came up for me with one of his readings, and it didn't occur to me after like 10 years later. Exactly what he told, like his advice was so spot on. He was out telling everybody. He's like, you share so much, Christina. Like you're very trusting, but you have to be careful on who you share your story with, because not everyone is going to be like, as kind, with your story as you may be with, other people. So it was so profound. It took me a lot of, painful experiences to realize, but it dawned on me that was exactly one of his recommendations for me.
Wow, that's so cool. That's so cool to hear that. We have one of our best friends. He did a reading for as well, and we still talk about it to this day, and you know, things kind of come up here and there. So it's amazing. So thank you for sharing that.
Yeah,
I
thank
totally
you.
forgot that he did a reading on you.
He
That's pretty
did.
cool.
We go way back, y'all.
Yeah.
So, okay, speaking of numerology and folks who are watching us, before we wrap up, do you know your life path number?
Life path number?
Yes.
I'm not sure. What is that?
Okay.
Yeah, what is
How
the
do you
life
get
path?
it?
How do you get the life path?
So
the root
everyone, you
number?
get you. Is it the what?
It's not the
The
root
root
number,
number?
is it? The root
I'm
number?
not sure. Maybe it is if it's called differently. So okay, so the life path number is your birth month plus your birth date plus the year you were born, and you have to add all of these numbers up. You have to keep adding them up until you get one digit.
Okay. Okay.
So my life path number is a 7. And that's supposed to be like the start of like a new cycle for me, but also that spiritual cycle, because 7 is, you know, like my number, and I'm turning 43, which is a 7. So I'm expecting, I'm expecting of myself to become enlightened in the next year. And I'm just
very cool.
I'm gonna be like Baby Yoda.
Very cool.
That's awesome.
Yeah, no, I know about the one where you the turning point. I don't know if you heard of that one. It's where you take the month, day, and then the full year. So the 4 digits of the year, and then you add everything together, and you're going to get a 4-digit number. And that 4-digit number is supposed to be your turning point. So it's supposed to represent something that happened to you that was significant or life-changing. Yeah, so check that out.
Okay, I need you're gonna have to DM me that calculation again.
Okay.
That's probably when, again, Timothy, shout out, that when you were born. Oh my God, this has been so fabulous. I feel like I could be here for another hour with y'all, but I want to be mindful of your time, and I'm sure we're gonna get booted off Instagram anytime soon. So thank you for everyone who showed up for the VRDGO brothers. Yeah, you guys are so amazing. All your fans are showing up on Instagram, and thank you all.
Thank you,
I have
guys.
so much love and respect for
Thank you
guys.
so much.
Thank you guys.
I can't wait to reunite in real life.
Definitely.
Likewise.
Mad love to your mom.